Hello, friends. This is Doug Schaible, and welcome to the Premature Bible Institute. Just want to say thanks for tuning in last week for the first lesson in lesson one. And in that one, we talked a little bit about who I am, where I came from, a little bit of history about ourselves, what we did. We were church planters in Papua New Guinea. And in this one, we're going to talk about what I'm trying to accomplish with these podcasts. What's the purpose of it? Why have I decided to do this? There's so much teaching out there. I'm not trying to be better or worse than anybody else. I just think there's a way to tell some information that's kind of unique and maybe a little bit different. So I want to start with that. So before I get into that too much, what I want you to understand, and next week we're going to probably be talking, well, we won't be, we will be talking about the rationale for teaching like this. But this week I just want to let you know about the reason I am trying to do this, and also another reason, but we'll deal with that in just a second. Mainly the reason that I have decided to do these type of podcasts is because of I guess of who I am and what I think is important. As I said in the last podcast, my family and I, we were missionaries in Papua New Guinea. And so that's important to us, to reach people who have never had a chance to hear. But in order for people to hear that have never heard, somebody's got to go and tell them. And those people need to be prepared. They need to be fit for the work that they're getting ready to do. You don't train somebody in aircraft mechanics if you want them to be a medical doctor, and vice versa. You prepare people for the work that they're going to do. And because we're reaching people who have never had a chance to hear or ever will hear, well, there's going to be a lot of things that we need to be talking about. But there are three aspects, I think, in missionary work. The first thing is you need to know what you're trying to accomplish. Excuse me. So you want to know what it is you're trying to accomplish. What's the end goal? What is the ultimate objective of your work out there? The second thing you need to know is how are you going to accomplish that work? You need to understand what it's going to take to see this job brought to completion. And then the third thing you really need to do, and this is really important, is that how are the people that you're going to carry on the same responsibility, the same attitude, the same mindset, that they in turn want to do the same thing that you just got through doing. And so those are three steps along the way. Those are, the way I was presenting it to you just now was not in a chronological sequence. It was in a sequence of importance. There needs to be a task that needs to be completed. You need to know what you're trying to accomplish. Second is need to know how you want to accomplish it. And third, you need to know how the people that you're going to need to accomplish that also. And so that's kind of what my main reason for doing this. Not only so that we can reach those people, but how can we prepare you? And so in a chronological sense, what we're first trying to do is to prepare the person who's going, and that's by educating them in the Word. In God's Word. We're trying to educating them into what they're going to be facing when they get there, and how they're going to go about it, and so that they can do the job well and help people to understand the implications of what they're hearing. And the second thing is, like I say, preparing the laborer, that's you. And then but in order to do that, there has to be something that comes before that. And that is getting you prepared as a person, not just the technical skills you need to do it, but how are we going to prepare you as an individual yourself so that you are ready for this type of work spiritually. So in order to do that, that's what I want to accomplish with this. And so that's why we want to teach this way, rather than just starting with the end of the story. We're going to start at the beginning of the story. And so that's what we want to do. So that's what I want to do. Now I want to explain something else. I want to explain what I'm not trying to accomplish. And what I'm not trying to accomplish is to get into theological debates and arguments about all kinds of stuff, about everything that you're hearing, and so on. Listen, if you don't agree with what I'm getting ready to share with you, that's okay. I'm not going to be offended by that. But I'm not going to get into get into arguments about it. I'm not going to debate you on this. All I'm going to do is tell you what I have learned over the years and some of the issues that are involved in that, and I'll explain them. And I understand if you have legitimate questions about what we're going to be teaching, that's fine. I have no problem with that at all. But like I said, I don't want to get into this back and forth over and over where we waste a lot of time talking about the same things we're going to be talking about 20 years from now if we have a particular mindset. So I'm not in here to get into all the spiritual gifts debate. I'm not here to get into the Calvinist Arminian debate, whether Reformed or dispensational theology. That's not my point. Those are important things in and of themselves, and I have my own bent also. But the point is, I want you to truly understand who the Lord really is and what is important to Him. And then hopefully one day you'll make that important to you. So that's what we're trying to do. The second thing I want to tell you that I'm not trying to do is I'm not trying to sell you something. Freely I receive this and freely I give it. So when you get online, whether you get onto an Apple podcast or onto your podcast app and listen to the Premature Bible Institute, which is the name of my podcast on audio portion of it, when you do that, you're hearing what my thoughts are. I'm not trying to be professional. I'm not trying to be real picky about and real precise on my words. I'm just trying to say things as I'm thinking about them and as I've thought about them. And so it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to sound like a quality type person in the sense of a speaker who's really trained in how to speak well, that type of thing. No. What I want to do is tell you what I'm thinking, and then you use that as you see fit. Okay, so that's on my audio podcast. So you can listen to that at Premature Bible Institute. And also, I'll give at the end of this video, and by the way, this is also going to be an audio portion. The audio lessons are already done up to lesson 26. So what happened was it was recommended to me to do these in a video podcast, and I decided to do that. The only problem was the first 26 lessons I hadn't, or 25 lessons I hadn't done in video. So now I'm kind of going back and playing a little bit of catch up. So, but at the end of this video, I'll give you some links that you can go to get to. And listen, I'd like to ask you to do me a favor. This is going to be on YouTube, and I'll leave a link at the end that you can subscribe to, or you can go to my blog page, my blog post at tribalschaible.com, and I'll have that on there too. Just go there, and there are links there to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, but also to this YouTube channel. And also, and if I get 100 people that have subscribed, and right now it's really been good. In the audio podcast, I've got over 2,000 that are listening, so it's really nice. So, but in the video, if I get 100, then I can change the name of that video podcast, and so it'll be much more easy to remember after that point. So anyway, I'll do that as soon as this is done, and then you can have access to that. So that being said, this is the end of lesson 2. It was a short one. It wasn't long. And next week we'll deal with a little bit more about what is the rationale for teaching the Bible the way I'm going to, starting at the beginning and working to the end. But we're not going to teach every single thing in the Old Testament or New Testament. What we're going to do is teach the whole redemptive story. And so in order to do that, there are certain lessons that have been chosen and picked out. And so just want you to know that. And by the way, let me say this right off the bat. This material that we're teaching is not anything that I originated. A man by the name of Trevor McElwain did this, and I'll talk about that a little bit next week. And I'll give you a history of how this type of teaching came to be. But I just am forever indebted to him for having set this up for him as a missionary and then passing that on to other people. And a lot of people have really taken this and gone with it, and it's really produced tremendous results among those who have never heard. So anyway, I just want to say thanks, and please, after this is all over, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also the podcast if you want. And like I say, I'll give you there at tribalschaible.com. You can go there and click on the podcast tab up at the top of the page, and it'll take you to those 3 places where you can subscribe right away. Or you can use your own favorite podcast app too. So anyway, take care. Have a good evening. Good night.